some people are less fortunate. Life is not kind to all of us. While you might be lucky enough to live a comfortable life, others don't have a roof over their head or food to put on that table. That's the reason you should always be grateful for what you have. You won't be able to help everyone in need, but your gesture, no matter how small, will definitely make a difference. This old grandma claims to be only 30 years old, as she thinks she never gets old, but seeing her, one can notice that she is very, very old. But why does she believe she's this young? One day she traveled, then forgot where she lived. It's now been 50 years since she lost her home. She tells us more of her story. She's too old that she does not remember everything, not even how old she is. But according to her, she got old long time ago, and she's now turning young again, where she thinks right now she's 30 years old. No one in this area knows how old she is, as she's the oldest in this area. This means everyone who knows her in this area is probably younger than the grandma.
Koko. Ni nka 30 hari. Ingahe? Ni nka 30 hari. 30. Ko yaba ari mike cyane se? Niyo wabura umwangavu.
Before she tells us more of her life story, she says a prayer would be nice. As a believer, she puts God over everything.
Izina ry'Imana Data na Mwana na Roho Mutagatifu, Dawe mw'ijuru, izina ryawe ryubahwe, ingoma yawe yogere hose, icyo ushaka gikorwe munsi nk'uko gikorwa mw'ijuru. Ifunguro dutungura uduhe none, utubabarire ibicumuro byacu nk'uko natwe tubabarira abaducumuye, ntudutererane mu bitwosha ahubwo udukize icyago.
She says during her childhood, they used to put on skins and hides. That was before this modern era, where there was no clothes and people depended on farming and hunting. That was a beautiful era where man mainly depended on fruits, milk and meat, being the reason such people would be strong, healthy and live long. The grandma is so old that she was born before the introduction of vehicles. Her first time in a vehicle was awesome. She will never forget that day, as she could see everything moving, starting from trees, people and all objects. This woman has spent a lot of years wandering on streets as she forgot where she lived. Though she does not remember counting well, but she thinks maybe it's been 50 years since she lost her home and started wandering on streets. One day, the old woman woke up on a normal sunny day. She then traveled in the nearby village as usual, but on her return, she went to the wrong far village and started wandering on its streets as she could not remember where she came from. In this village, there was no one of the villagers who knew her. This was going to be one of our days on planet Earth. She spent many days and nights with nowhere to live and nowhere to sleep. All she could survive was by going to streets and people would bring her food. Claude lives near her and had been seeing her for some days. He approached the old woman who was hopeless and homeless by then. The grandma told everything the man and all about how she got lost and found herself in this village without anyone to live with her. As kind as he is, Claude could see the woman is the same age as her grandma and welcomed the woman to his house. They now live together. It has been a lot of years. The woman is too old that she cannot do anything. All is done by Claude and other young people around. Claude says he's waiting for anyone related to the grandma. If they come and wish to take her back to their family, this will be great, and the grandma will return willingly. If she chooses to stay, she will stay. It will all depend on the grandmother's wish. Claude says living with this grandma has been a blessing in a way he cannot explain. He says we should all show some love to whoever that is around. One person said, when you do nothing, you feel overwhelmed and powerless. But when you get involved, you feel the sense of hope and accomplishment that comes from knowing you are working to make things better. Now, the grandma is happy being here and thanks Claude for such a kind and caring heart. She's always praying and asking God to help he who welcomed her here, since the grandma does nothing due to old age. Children always come play and have fun around the grandma, who says this makes her days and makes her happy, making her feel not alone. The man works hard to provide all what fits him and the old woman. He also hired someone who is assigned to taking care of the grandma, knowing when she needs to eat, knowing whether she needs water, and many more. The grandmother says after growing up, she did not get a chance to attend school. By that time, schools were new and only a few children attended schools. She was unlucky she never went to school, but grew up with some skills like weaving some mats and baskets. She later got married to a man she never knew, as none of her generation ever chose a partner. It was an arranged marriage where their families arranged the wedding rather than the couple themselves. In such times, love marriages were rare and were considered as taboos in the society. After getting married, she produced many children who grew and went on producing other children. The grandmother thanks God for being alive until this moment. To her, this is something special, and she'll always be grateful to God for keeping her alive all these years. She says some of her grandchildren died, but she's alive, and that's why she's always praying, appreciating God's security over her. Many of her children and grandchildren grew and went to live far from where she lives right now. Some went to find jobs in distant cities. Others, mainly girls, went to look for partners and later got married and started their families. As she blessed us in the beginning, she also wishes to keep us under God's protection with a prayer as we wind up.
Amen.
Turabashimiye
Yesu wacu tubabara ibyaha byacu kandi tuninde umuriro w'iteka igaruriro z'abantu bose kugeza roho zose mu ijuru cyane cyane wite ku bakeneye impuhwe zawe. Nuko
if you're not making someone else's life better, then you're wasting your time. Your life will become better by making other lives better, because our prime purpose in this life is to help others. The real point is that we all need help somewhere along life's path, whether we think we will or not. And if you are the one giving and helping, just remember this. No matter what happens later, you'll always be secure in the fact knowing that you have remained strong and true to assist those that need your help. Thank you for watching. I'm Elijah and this is Afrimax English. Remember to subscribe.